These are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, GWD family, wherever part of the world you may be in. We are starting our very exciting Sunday night webinar, and this is in particular extra exciting. I know every time we've been told there's a special announcement, special webinar by the corporate. They always over deliver, and I'm very extremely anxious to see what it is they're going to share with us tonight. I know a little bit about the Emmys that we were present at a couple of weeks ago, and there's some other goodies that's going to be shared with us. I know every one of you guys have been anxious. I know it's been a short notice, but I know I see the excitement on Facebook, the messages, the emails and texts. Everybody wants to know more about it. So with no more further delay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring our VP of Product Development, Ms. Sanaz Hooman, and later on our CEO, Ramin, Mesgarlou, to share with us these exciting announcements. So Sanaz, are you there?
I'm right here, Reza. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you great, sweetheart. You go ahead.
Thank you so much. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and good morning to those across the globe. Tonight is an exciting call as we have many, many people logging in. As you can see on your screen, we have our fairy designer lines at the Emmys that we're going to be releasing to you tonight. As well, we are going to be sharing some of the product development secrets that a lot of people are anxious and curious and ask questions about. And we're going to be sharing some of those goodies with you on the process that it takes for us to develop and create and bring out and launch products for all of you. So it's my absolute pleasure and honor at this point to bring on our CEO and founder to join us on the call. And again, for those of you who are new, whether you've been in the business for, a month or a year or 5 years or 6 years or 7 years, we are always having brand new distributors coming in. We always have new products coming in. But I wanted to give you a little bit of an introduction of this gentleman. I had a chance to meet him when I basically saw this company about 7 years ago. He had launched an incredible business. I saw the compensation plan that he had written, and he was absolutely brilliant with creating the compensation plan. Again, he comes from a direct sales background. He's got an extensive experience building in the field as a full-time distributor for 14 years, 20 years in the industry as a distributor, and of course many years in corporate now, but founded the company, invested into the company by himself, solely created the most incredible compensation plan, created the most incredible idea of bringing unique products to the market that had never been done in an industry that has been around for so many years, truly revolutionize the industry, not only with the platform of the products that he wanted to bring to the network marketing industry, but at the same time to bring the most incredible compensation plan that has never been introduced. Now, he's written multiple different compensation plans. He's an advisor for many people who actually wanted to write their own plans in the past as well. So he is an absolute guru. He's also, of course, the author and creator of the Forensic Networker, which many of you have logged into, and he's been able to help and mentor over 12 millionaires to be able to create their create their $1 million success through the Forensic Networker. And I know a lot of you that are brand new in the company are logging in, utilizing the Forensic Networker, and having phenomenal success. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring on our amazing CEO, founder, and visionary, Mr. Ramin Mesgarlou. Sir, are you there?
Thank you so much, Sanaz. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Well, I'm always revved up when I get a chance to get on these calls because, at heart, Sanaz, you and I both, we're distributors at heart. We're still mentality of a distributor. We love these calls. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where the information and energy flows. This is where you stay connected. Whether you're doing well, you're not doing well, you need these calls. If you're doing well, your story is important to these calls. If you're not doing well, you need to hear those stories. So these calls are a must. It's part of your MO. You want to make sure you're on it. Nobody misses it. It starts with you. If you're on it, you're talking about your team, and your people get on it. If it's not important to you, it's not important to your team, and they will not get on it. It's a forensic terminology. So tonight is exciting. We launched it last minute. We had one of our leaders, Jeanette, was supposed to do the call tonight. She'll do it next week. But we thought it was really, really important that we share with you how the process, the background work that goes through every single line that comes up. Because the common questions and answers you get always is, why does it take so long for us to release a new line? Well, we've done tremendously well. We got so many products, 1,400 SKUs, and the reason why development takes from pen to release 2 years is because there's so many different steps that we need to go through. And tonight, we've actually shortened this up to 15 steps, but it's actually more than that, Sanaz, in order for us to be able to get our products out. But we're going to quickly touch on this. Now, don't need to take notes, because what we're going to do with this is going to actually become part of your standard ABCDs training that Sanaz Hooman puts out. So it's going to be part of that. It's going to become part of your boot camp. So you don't need to extensively take notes tonight. Listen carefully. Tonight's call is about 2 parts. One of them is about our product development process. And second part, we're going to finish it at even a higher note. And we're going to talk about the Emmy, what happened at the Emmy Lounge, where Ferry was the title sponsor. That were there a couple of weeks back. And we're going to release tonight wonderful, wonderful, magnificent video that the CTO and Nat Kalmar put together. And you know what? It's probably the best video, better than Ferry is of the past. So I was excited to see it. Where you get a chance to see the Rodeo Drive and Beverly Hills and Emmys. And anyway, it's a very, very cool video that Nat's worked on all week for you guys. So in any event, we're going to get started tonight with our first part, and that is the 15-step process of what our product lines, how our product lines are thought about, generated. It's you know, from the time that we actually come up with an idea to the time that that idea may, because 9 out of 10 won't, the one that may get to actual production and release, it's a minimum of 2 years. We have cases, and as that's been over 3 years, which in the case of the Ferry Red Line timepiece, that's coming out. So
Sure.
at this point, Sanaz, are you ready to get going?
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Good stuff. All right. So let's talk about the 15 steps, Sanaz, because people always ask us, we've gone from inception. I mean, this is what just absolutely mesmerizes, shocks the media. How do you go from inception to be the world's benchmark, which Ferry Marsh is? How do you go from inception to become celebrities designer line like Ferry is in like 9 years? How do you do it? Like, how do you guys can come up? Because the process of R&D is a very long, lengthy, and expensive process. So I thought tonight we're going to give a quick overview. We're not going to talk extensively because obviously it's a very, very, extremely, very boring process, but it's a lot of hard work. But tonight we gave him a quick glimpse of what we do. And I guess the very first thing is, which is part of your job, is I do some of it as well, which is market and trend research, which we do much of it in-house. Of course, I've also hired many consultants in the industry from around the world to help us, fashion consultants, to help us with that. So let's talk about that.
Sure. Well, one of the biggest things with what you mentioned is constantly seeing what is developing in the market. What are the fashion trends? What are the fashion colors? What are the colors that are going to be coming out that are really timeless? Because really our pieces, our designs are timeless designs. So doing that type of market research, as we have, products that will release, in 2005, yet it's still popular and we're still carrying those designs today. So the market research is really, really important. Trends are, of course, really important. And like you mentioned, we have the best of the best when it comes to fashion consultants from around the globe, from all across the different continents, and that allows us to be able to expand like we have in the 80+ countries.
You know what, Sanaz, you bring up a very good point. Right from day one, we knew that, first of all, we don't have the capabilities, we don't have the resources, nor do we want to be coming up with the latest and the greatest fashion of the season. We don't want to do that. We want to come up with timeless pieces. We don't want to be the latest Toyota. We want to be we want to be the Mercedes-Benz or the Rolls-Royces, because you don't see those cars change very often, do they? They're timeless. You could have a 10-year-old Mercedes and it still looks like a $150,000 car. It still looks great, as opposed to if you have a 10-year-old Toyota, it looks like it's outdated. So right from day one, we come up with the way design is set up. It's not attached to what's up this summer. It's attached to what is chic, to what is in, to what is where the future is going, more than what is this summer has to offer. So again, much of that hard work falls on the Sanaz and her consultants. So that's the very first thing we do. We do the market and trend research, which we do most of it in-house and through our fashion consultants. Now, from the market point of view, we take a look at the SEEK we always take a look at our, where the luxury designers are. We're not really looking for the fashion industry per se, because a lot of that is come and go. But we take a look at the iconic brands and what they're doing. So, and from that point on is where we go to step number 2, which is to decide which direction we want to go over the next 2 years. Why 2 years? Because again, it will take from pen to release a minimum of 2 years before a fairy piece comes out. So I make a joke of it sometimes when people ask something new that I'm wearing or Sanaz is wearing. People say, is that the next fairy? We always say, you want to find out what's coming out of fairy in 2 years? Watch me and Sanaz closely today. Because a lot of times we are the guinea pig of producing something to make sure how it fits, how it feels, and its quality. So let's talk about that, Sanaz. The direction of where we want to go over the next 2 years. From the product verticals to the price range, where we want to sit within the pricing. Are we looking at going extremely high end? Are we looking at something economical? So that's the next the set of meetings that you and I always have with regards to where we're going.
Sure, and that's one of the things that we've changed. And again, when you are part of GWT, you are constantly seeing us evolve. You're constantly seeing us grow. You're constantly seeing new products. I mean, Ramin, looking back in time and looking at really the history of where we've been with the products and what we've been able to develop, looking back in 2007, we launched the first collection of fairy designer lines, which was 200 pieces of the fairy sterling silver. We released 5 timepieces, and I mean, wow, has it ever
And they're
evolved
still
from...
selling like crazy. Those original designs, they're still selling as good as they did when we first released them.
Absolutely, and this is what we're talking about, the colors, the fashion trends, they are completely timeless. You can wear them over time, you can wear them casually, you can dress them up, it doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of our product line. But of course, we've evolved so much, and we've added so many new sterling silvers. We've added the tungsten line, we've added the plankston line, we've added the stellite line, of course we've added the cobalt. So I mean, the methodology that we've been able to work with, we've also kept that into mind, to be unique, to be different, to carry products that nobody else does. Of course, all of our product designs are gorgeous, people love them, but the evolution of the products keep on evolving. Not only have we added to our jewelry line, but we've also become a fashion line. What that means is that we've also added our incredible shields. We added our leather collection. We have our prestige collection, which is our high-end grade leather, and of course we have our day-to-day, which is affordable luxury, which brings me to the point that you were just mentioning, Ramin, which is, looking at products that are still gorgeous, that are absolutely beautiful, but more feasible. So now we not only have multiple different products to choose from, but we also have many different price points to be able to view, and for our distributors, for our luxury consultants to be able to choose from as well.
Again, Sanaz talked about metallurgy, and that's really, if you have to look at the core of who we are as a designer, we are a jewelry designer. But we want to get away from that, because jewelry manufacturer, let's just not design, manufacturer, because that design comes with it. And that's, but now we've gone away from that over the past 5 or 6 years to become a fashion designer house. But if you take a look at Louis Vuitton, for example, they sell everything, but really they are a leather company. When you take a look at Chanel, well, they sell everything. Really, they are a dress company. That's their heritage. Of course, I've expanded to different parts. So with us, our core base is where we come from. At heart, we are in luxury design, which is in the jewelry business. But since then, we brought the same mindset into other lines. That's why they're such a hit, which you're going to see later on at the Emmys. But metallurgy is important because in some things, for example, in fashion especially, there's no such thing as exclusivity. There's nothing unique about anything. Anyone can come up with a design that's talked about 15, 20, 30 years ago. There's literally tens of hundreds of millions of designs out there. So what we try to do to protect us, and we've done something that no other designer is doing, because we have the capability to do, at least in the jewelry side of it, and that is we not just manufacture, we don't just design, but we also work with the raw material to make sure that even the raw material is unique. Because at the end of the day, even if somebody tries to copy a fairy marsh, guess what? They won't do it in 21K, they'll be doing it in 18K. So the design can always be copied. But if we try to make it as hard as we can make it, is to work with the original, the raw material, because that is where it takes extremely difficult to try to copy. And for example, even when it comes out to tungsten and plankton and cobalt pieces, when you go down to this, its core, what we find that the tungsten purity in our tungsten pieces is not the same as the tungsten pieces you'll find online or in jewelry stores, because those are 100% tungsten, which is the cheapest type of tungsten jewel you'll find. Because tungsten is very brittle, you chip it, you drop it, it chips. So we had that problem in the beginning when we launched. Then we started, because we come from metallurgy background, we thought, what can we do with this difficult metal? And then we start to reduce the amount of tungsten, add other metals in it, and then eventually we come with a plankton, which has got platinum in it. Eventually became bulletproof. This I shouldn't say bulletproof because everything has, but it's become like no other tungsten's ever been, and that is now it's become resistant to impact, where tungsten in general isn't. Cobalt, the latest one we have right now, the Stellite collection, that one is absolutely amazing. Again, very resistant to impact. It's got a very special luster to it. So what we try to do is beyond just design. We try to work with the raw material to make it very, very difficult. Nothing is impossible, but we try to make it very difficult to copy by somebody else. Now the next thing is, and obviously in a world of fashion, there is tons of choices. We have wish lists that goes hundreds and hundreds of lines deep. So we have to basically make a wish list based on, this is my part now, because if you left it up to Sanaz Hooman, she'll spend the $10 million tomorrow on development. So it's my job is to make sure that, be able to prioritize what I feel is the most important next. So in our company, we go based on the 4 congruent, which is a Stephen Covey system. I don't want to take credit for it, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4 priority system, which is 1, important, urgent; 2, important, urgent but not important; 3, important but not urgent; 4, not important, not urgent. So that's everything in our company, from every part of our operation that we have. It goes through this priority, because if we don't do this, trust me, nothing gets done. So I go through the 1, 2, 3, 4, identify which ones are the ones. So we go through the ones first. When the ones are finished, and we go to number 2s and so on. So that's the part. So Sanaz comes to me often with these great ideas, and Sanaz, you go through the same process with me every time.
Sure, and one of the other things that's really important for us, and I just wanted to touch base on it. You talked about it a little bit earlier on. Is the raw materials.
We can't hear you, Sanaz.
Can you hear me okay?
We hear you now, yes. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I don't know what happened. One of the other things that's really important that Ramin touched on a little bit earlier is the raw materials. When we started to do our sterling silver, of course, it's just a sterling silver. But now, one of the biggest reasons why, I get the pleasure of traveling so much and being a gypsy and sometimes living out of a suitcase is because we get a chance to really study the raw materials from the globe. We use the best raw materials from wherever it's produced globally. And again, we've gone so international with our raw materials, and that's actually added to our line tremendously as well, Ramin. And I wanted to mention that. Did we lose Ramin? Okay, so till we get Ramin back, another aspect of it is, as Ramin mentioned, is the 4th step is the study of the competition. Of course, the luxury designer brands have been building in the industry for many, many, many years. Of course, some of them have been around for over 100 years. They have multiple product lines that they've released. And like Ramin mentioned, whether it's the Louis Vuitton that started their original heritage with a luggage, or whether it's Chanel that started with clothing, whatever it is, we're constantly looking at, what the other competition is sort of doing, what they're releasing, and from that we base a lot of our trends, and as well as streams of what we're going to be developing with the product lines. And again, you've seen that, as I mentioned earlier, we started with the sterling silver. We of course added our leather collection, we've added our shields, and of course recently we've added our costume jewelry line, which has been absolutely tremendous. It's been a huge hit. We are talking about the release of our belts, and that's been in the process for a while. Ramin touched base about the fairy red line, and that development has been taking almost 3 years, and that is one of the reasons is Ramin is actually overlooking that entire project, from the raw materials to even the design to the color scheme. So those are the kind of things that, you know, we do in the process of creating new products for all of us. So studying our products, studying the future, studying what we're going to do, setting the priority of which one we're going to follow, the you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 system are all key essential tools that we're using in order to be able to expand and build up on our brand. I'm just going to do another confirmation. Is Ramin back with us? All right. So once we have decided, I'm going to go to the next step, which is step 5, which is come up with a design concept in-house. And of course, we use tons of freelance designers from all over the world. Again, we used to do a lot of the stuff in-house at the world headquarters. We were, you know, we had a team that was designing, then we hired, you know, a couple of more, and then it kept on adding on. And of course, expanding as a brand, giving you, you know, over 2,000 different products to be able to choose from in the Fairy Designer lines, and of course our Fairy Mosh collection and the Posh collection. You know, people would always ask me, Sanaz, how do you create all these products? Well, I would say, well, now I play the role of overlooking a lot of the designs that are coming in, because we have freelance designers that are doing a lot of the design and the work to be able to, you know, bring it to us. And of course, many are eliminated and they're no's, and we never create them.
Welcome to GoToWebinar, Webinars Made Easy.
By myself. Again, Ramin also plays a key role in that as well, especially when it comes to a lot of the pieces for the gents. Of course, Ramin gets all involved with that as well. When it comes to the timepieces, of course, Ramin plays an essential role with that as well. So it's exciting when you have so many different ideas that are coming to the table. But again, we're looking at something that's going to be timeless. We're looking at, you know, the best raw materials that we can incorporate, because not all designs can be made in any material either. And those are some of the key things that we have to keep in mind of the research and the development and the time and the market research that goes into creating and bringing us to actually even this step of, you know, getting the designs from all those freelance designers across the globe. So the 6th step is to actually finalize it. So once we get the pieces in, we'll tweak them, we'll change them, you know, we'll enhance them, we'll either, you know, make them bigger, make them smaller, change the colors, you know, change the stonework. And again, those are important factors in creating a design, because, you know, there's a lot of products in the market. And, you know, let's talk about the jewelry, because that is our biggest collection. And when you're looking at the jewelry collection, you know, we have a very, very vast line to be able to choose from. We have our small pieces, we have our large pieces, you know, some are really dainty, but we really have huge, huge collection to be able to choose from any price point, from any style, from any design, from any market. That's the beauty of our brand, where it doesn't matter which continent you reside in, or what country you come from, or what background or culture you're from. We definitely have a product for everyone to be able to choose from. So we finalized.
I'm back on the call, by the way.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So we finalized the designs that we want to produce, and from that, you know, from paper, it goes into the computer renderings that, you know, we create. And once we have the computer renderings, from there we start to create the sample products. I'm going to just pause there. I'm going to give the call back to you, Ramin, because I went through a couple of the different steps, which is, you know, I covered study the competition, come up with our designs with our all our amazing freelance designers that we have from across the globe, and then finalizing to what we want to produce. That's what I'm just about to talk about.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm sure you did a great job. I don't need to say much about that. At the end of the day, what we want to let people know that what we do, has nothing in common with what you see in retail. That's what we're going to talk a little bit later on, where the difference between designers and what you find in a free market. In fact, I wrote an article on this a couple of years ago. I think I'm just going to redistribute it one more time to our LCs. The difference between designers and the retail market, difference with designers and even brands that you see out there. And within the designers, there's multiple different layers and levels, just like everything else. In gold, you've got 10, 14, 18, 19, 21. Everything in life, everything you manufacture has different grades. And we always shoot for what are the luxury benchmarks of the industry. So nothing we do that becomes a standard co or something that you'll find in any store, because there is a GWT hand and mentality, mindset in every single one. And studying the competition is something, again, that everybody does. Everybody does constantly. One of the main things that you do in business, you always want to take a look at your competition, whether you're Microsoft or Apple or whoever software, or you're in design or car manufacturers, it makes no difference. You always want to take a look at what the other people are doing. And then in our case, our mandate is never to copy or match. Our mandate is to take the benchmarks and elevate it to a level that no one's ever done before. So that's what we've done with Fairy Marsh. We've gone to a level no one's ever done before. And now we're doing that with Fairy. For example, our shield, incredible. Fairy's always a hit. But our shield completely stole the show at the Emmys. And you'll get a chance to see that later. It was something that everybody asked for and wanted and looked at or mesmerized at, followed very closely by Posh and our day-to-day. So your typical stars of Fairy were really backshadowed in this Emmy with the newcomers that we pushed out there. And the comment that you get a lot when it comes to Fairy, unique. Never seen it before. Because again, that is the mindset right from the pen when we start. How can we do something no one else has ever done? And then come up with design concepts to move that forward. Now, people always ask, do you design everything in-house? No, we don't. Now, there are things that we do everything in-house. For example, the timepieces, all done in-house. We've got the handbags, all done in-house. But when it comes to things like the sunglasses, it's all done in-house. But when it comes to things like our Fairy Silver, for example, or Fairy Posh design, we do work with about 30, 31 different designers from all over the world because, again, we're a global business. We're not a Canadian business. You want to make sure that you come up with designs that really fit every market that we operate in. Now, I probably shouldn't be saying this because I'm usually the one to let the cat out of the bag soon, but the next Posh that's coming out is going to completely mesmerize you, even if you're in Canada, but really it came from an African inspiration. Again, we have to make sure that we take care of, we think globally. We're not those franchises where they only operate in North America and that's all they care about. With us, everything we do, hence we need to work with designers from all over the world. And when they submit a design to us, not a single one of them goes through. The ones that we're even interested, which is about maybe 5% or less, not a single one of them goes through it the way it is. That's Sanaz's job. She sits down most of the time herself, and she goes makes all kinds of changes to the design, to the concept. First of all, Fairy has a very definite format of how we like our things to look. And from the way that the stones are set to the way the stones flow, the colors, that's again Sanaz's job to do. So that's how we come up with our designs. And freelance designers are very common. Many of them that we work with, they do work for Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Cartier. These are people that work for everybody. So, but when we take a design, we make sure that as much as possible, because there are a few times it's not possible, but vast majority of the time that we buy the rights to that design, and that becomes our design. Sometimes that's not possible because someone else already used it. So what we do in that case, again, it doesn't make a difference to us because by the time it comes to us, we're completely changing it anyways to what Fairy should be. So that's standard practice in a designer world. That's what they call them, designers. Designers are not manufacturers. That's another thing to understand. People sometimes ask, well, do you guys manufacture everything? Well, no. Nobody manufactures everything. Like Gucci doesn't make sunglasses. They design sunglasses. They go to a manufacturer who makes sunglasses and get them made. We make jewelry, but we don't make handbags. You know, Chanel, for example, they don't make handbags. They make dresses, but they have companies making handbags. So in Mercedes-Benz, your alternators or whether you Lexus, most of these parts are not done by Mercedes-Benz, some by other manufacturers who make alternators. And then it's done for Mercedes. So it's very standard in business. So manufacturers make the product, designers design the product. So I want to make sure people understand that, and there is no major brand out there that makes everything. They design everything, but they don't make everything. And even within the design, it's not all done in-house. We always have to be open to look outside because we don't want to limit what we can produce to what we can think of in-house. That's why you go to the best of the best that you can find and see how you can enhance your brand. So once we come up with those design concepts, and then it finally goes to production. Now, I guess we are number 6 on our finalizing design that we want. Once we decide what those things are, and again, even that has to go to the order of priority because what can we do now? I would say we're the world's largest tiny company. or we're the world's largest because of the type of work we do, but we're a tiny company because we're still a very small company, and we don't have a $100 million budget for this quarter like some of these big guys have for production. So we have to make sure that we make the right decisions for the type of products that is the right for the time that we need right now to take us right to the next level. And so that's always a tough part for you because you got all these great ideas, but then some of them have to wait till we're ready to do them.
Sure, absolutely. And and that's just the process when it takes. And again, many people think that, it just takes a couple of weeks to be able to create something. But, and I remember someone asked me, so when we decide to do something, how long does it take? Usually 30 days. And I actually started to laugh because, just alone, just the sourcing of the raw materials is a process on its own. But to create it and to create that sample and then put it into production and do the QC and do everything, and then of course get it over to us, get it ready for packaging. Again, there's so many different steps that it goes through. And I mean, like you mentioned, we only mentioned 15, but if we were to really thoroughly break it down, we can go over 100 steps with creating everything and all the processes that really it takes to in order to develop one of our fairy designer lines or our very posh or even very mosh.
Well, what that brings us to next step 7, which is where do we want to fit in the retail market? Again, at the end of the day, we have a product that we're marketing. Who are we competing with? Are we going after big guys in a billion-dollar corporation like Sanaz and Gucci's and Versace and Hermes, or are we going down, to more economical? Is it Coach or Michael Kors or Guess or whoever it is? Who are we trying to compete with this type of product? And when it comes to our watches, are we looking for it to be a luxury timepiece, which is a $92,000 Ferry President? Do we want to position that in a $3,000, $4,000 range? Again, all of those decisions have to be made before manufacturing because it then comes down to what type of raw material we want to put into that product. So the design is being selected, but now how do we manufacture it? How much do we want to put into the raw materials in order to be able to, even from the stitching point of view? So now the bag that you give out, probably the most expensive bag we've ever done, it's the Opera, and it's like almost $5,000. Well,
Yep.
There's like 55. I don't know. Maybe you can talk about quickly. I don't know what is that 55 different types of stitching. I don't know. It looks very so complex. Just to put that back together, when I looked at my cost, this is manufacturing cost, I almost had a heart attack on this. But then again, that bag was to again become the Ferry Marsh of the Ferry bag because they look what we could do. We don't have them all at that price because obviously it's just to show for your customers that if they can come up with a project that complex, then I'm not going to worry about my $300 day-to-day bag. If they can pull out if these guys can manufacture a $5,000 bag. So there's a lot of marketing that goes, mind process that goes into this. Because I always think about, people say, why do you need a $90,000 watch? Well, the reason I put out a $90,000 watch is because you could become top 10 best in the world. So when you go to sell your $1,000, $2,000 watch to your customers, when they take a look at that and they see the commercial, they're like, wow, if they can do that, I'm sure my watch is going to be a great quality watch. And this is why Ferry's become such a hit, because we do work that we invest heavily into work that no one else does. Ferry Marsh has been a loss leader for me since the day we launched it. I've talked about it publicly. We don't make money on Ferry Marsh. Ferry Marsh the manufacturing cost of Ferry Marsh is so high. The work that goes in is so complex. We've had, I think, Sanaz 250, 260 clients part of the Ferry Marsh Club. We've lost money on every single project. But to me, it's worth it. Because Ferry is where it is today because we have Ferry Marsh, because of the world accolades that Ferry Marsh gets. So we put out a project out there. It's common with top manufacturers where, for example, when Honda wanted to get into F1 racing and wanted to bring themselves, raise their status of who they were, because initially they were just a cheap, reliable car, they came out with the Acura NSX. It was like a $130,000 supercar the world's never seen, set all kinds of records, became the best exotic car in the world. They did that because, look, so other people would say, if they could do that, then, my latest Accord, it's going to be a good car. So with us, the Ferry Marsh is your show-off line. We invest heavily into things no one else in the world has never done. We get all kinds of accolades for it. That makes your job easier to go promote everything else that we make. So the next, so the step 7 is basically this new line that we want to come up with. Like Sanaz come with this great design for day to day. the decision was, okay, where do we want that to fit within the retail world, price-wise? And we wanted to really, because fairy bags were already very prestige, people love them, but you know they're expensive. So we wanted to go towards more economical lines like the Michael Kors lines, and we want to go after their customers, basically Gucci, not Gucci, but Guess and those type of companies. So the price point was important. So that's the next step for us to do that. And once we establish that, now because we've been manufacturing for a long time, we know a lot of different people from around the world. We want to, where do we want to manufacture this? Where does the raw materials come from? Again, if it's a prestige line, then it will have to be from Italy, because you know there's something about the made in Italy tag that comes into especially handbags, and you know those anything has to do with fabric. They just have their name with regards to that, so it's important. But then again, you're paying very high costs of labor costs, and you're paying in euro. That's why these European designs are so expensive, because it's done in Europe. So then we have to decide, based on the price point, where can this be manufactured? We don't give in into our quality. Don't get this wrong. It's just that we have to start studying and interviewing several manufacturers, which one's the right fit around the world for this particular line, for the budget that we have. And Sanaz, that's why you travel so much. I mean, I've seen you go from Italy to Switzerland to Hong Kong, all in the same trip. And again, your mandate is finding the right partners for our next project and for our future projects.
Sure, and you know that's a blessing and a curse at the same time. Being a gypsy and traveling so much, yet you get a chance to see so much incredible, you know, pieces and colors and workmanship and factories and so on and so forth globally, and that's the beauty of it. Now you mentioned, you know, why the opera, the price point is at the highest it is. Well, Ramin, one of the biggest things, as you know, we actually, when we did our fashion show, that was one of the pieces that wasn't on the runway because it just wasn't ready for the runway. One of the reasons is because we don't just release anything for the sake of releasing it. When we release something, we want to make sure that it's perfect. We want to make sure that, you know, we're confident about it. We want to make sure that it's exactly the design and the concept that we had before it hits the runway or hits our distributors or goes onto our website. And that purse took 52 different times for us to sew it. And it's absolutely gorgeous because of the workmanship and the sewing that's been done, the leather, the colors, the design, everything that's been created into that purse is absolutely breathtaking. And of course, you know, it's our feature piece when it comes to the prestige line, and people love it. And the colors are very, very versatile. You can wear them for the fall, you can wear them in the winter, you can wear them in spring or summer, it doesn't matter. It's a great purse that you can have it casually during the day, yet be able to, you know, dress it up and have it for an evening purse as well. So those are some of the beautiful parts of our designs. And that, by the way, doesn't only go for the prestige purses, that goes with all of our designs, whether it's our watches, whether it's our jewelry, whether it's our, you know, handbags, whether it's, you know, posh, and you're going to get a chance to see some of that in the video as well. It doesn't matter what the piece is. They are so gorgeous that they can be worn casually, they can be dressed up, and that's the beauty of our designs. But again, I just wanted to mention why, you know, the price of the opera, what it was, you know, the fact that we had to sew it 52 times, like you mentioned, you know, the stitching, the work, the custom buckle. And it's the only purse with that custom buckle that we've done. Of course, we do custom lining with the prestige, we do custom hardware. Again, those all have to go through certain tests to be able to be passed to go on to the ferry, and we test them for, you know, 2-3 months before we even put them onto our designs as well. So there's a lot that goes into it. Like I mentioned, there's so many different processes that goes our pieces goes through, and of course, the bigger and bigger our line expands to be, you know, we're going to be releasing a lot of things, but at the same time, the timelines will, like you said, be at least 2 years before something comes out, because by the time we put it on paper till release, it goes through so many different steps.
So the next step is, now we've got a design, now we know what our price range is going to be, now we know which manufacturer we want to use, where to get the raw material. Now we send out the project to multiple manufacturers for them to create actually a live sample for us. So for us to evaluate their quality of work. Now, you say, what do you mean manufacturers? Well, it's important to understand. Nothing we have comes from one manufacturer. For example, the watch that we just released, the Conquest, 6 different manufacturers have to come together for different raw materials for that watch to be put together in the United States. That watch was put together in the United States, but 6 different manufacturers we had to go to from the Switzerland, where the movement comes from, ceramic, where the Hong Kong comes from, Hong Kong, where the ceramic comes from, and so forth, to be able to put together that watch. The new Red Line watch, it's the most complex timepiece we've ever done. 7 different manufacturers are involved for that watch to come together. Again, it's going to come together in the manufacturing facility in the United States. Now, well, the reason why the Conquest, which is one of the hottest, the most popular watches we've ever released, the reason why it's going to be discontinued, and it already has, is because of instantly collector's item is because one of the 6 manufacturers that we use to put that watch together went bankrupt. So we can't get that one particular part anymore. Since we can't do it anymore, instead of going through the whole process with another manufacturer to try to put it together, we decided this is the end of the line for the Conquest, which is heartbreaking for me because it's one of the nicest. It's a watch collector's watch. So that's what happens. When you want to come up with products that are unique, nothing that are off the shelf, that means you have to go to multiple partners and put them together, and hopefully we can come up with find the right product. That's what we do. I mean, go back to our silver, and go back a little bit now. Our silver, the reason why it is become the benchmark of the silver world is because not only the purity of silver is higher than the standard 925 silver, the company that we're dealing with, which is in Asia, they're such a large factory, they had 1,100 people in their facility. They could not do what we wanted. They took the top 10 sellers just for us because they know Ferry is a special client. They make products for a lot of designers around the world, but they could not meet our plating requirement. So we found a German company. They had the latest technology in plating, and we connected them together with this factory. And this factory, if they wanted our business, they had to go ahead and upgrade the facility. They spent over $100,000 to get the machines and the training they needed to be able to do this German technology plating for our silver line, which is Ferry. Recently, there's a new announcement that against Sanaz hasn't even made. We have, and I'm not going to let it out of the bag, but
Thank
that
God.
plating technology it even got more upgraded, which Sanaz will release that in the future. This is a news that came out last couple of weeks that even the later technology is out now, and the Ferry is even going to get that coming out. So we have to. It's not like we decide on something called a factory and it's done. We actually have to. Another thing we had to do, Sanaz, is we talked about this before, is that nobody carries AAA cubic zirconia for silver. Nobody. We actually had to find a stone. Cubic zirconia is just like diamonds. The higher the purity, the more rare it is, because less people use it, so there's not too many companies actually make it. We are one of the rare companies that actually use it, so we actually had to find the right company that supplied those stones with our silver factory, and they ordered especially from them just for us because they don't use that type of stone for any other customer that they have. Well, within 3 years of working with that company, we were told that we are the largest silver client they have worldwide. Even with the giant companies they're dealing with in Dubai and UAE and in Saudi Arabia and in Europe, we became the largest client they have. And again, so our work is so complex because if we don't find the raw material, like sometimes we have a difficult time finding the right diamonds for Ferry Marsh. So once we conquered how to do the 19K and 21K gold composition, our biggest challenge and the delay is not the manufacturing anymore. Now it's finding the right diamonds that actually fit to Ferry Marsh. So I travel to Switzerland all the time. I deal with some of the largest site holders in New York and around the world to try to find the right stones for Ferry Marsh. So again, now you're getting a feeling when you place an order, it's simple on your end, and it should be, Our end, there's a lot of work goes in the back end that takes a lot of effort. Sometimes it takes a long time to be able to do. So we send out the projects to multiple manufacturers, and we ask them to create a sample for our evaluation. For example, Sanaz talked about the hardware for the purses. Well, we have 3 different companies send us their samples, and they're all crap. They were absolutely crap. So we go back again. I don't know how many factories and we've gone back and forth with to finally find the right one. And again, you would think to come up with hardware like a buckle or clasp or something should be simple. There's 10 different grades that they could be manufactured in. I do want to bring this up as well. Well, this is a problem that you find with every manufacturer. Like one of the reasons our belts are delayed, and we're dealing with one of the top manufacturers in Italy, who happens to manufacture for Giorgio Armani, Calvin Klein, all of these guys. When they sent a sample, there were parts of the thing I wasn't happy with. He was shocked. He was completely offended. And I said, "Sir, with all due respect, we make from Armani," and he's telling me this is, he was offended. I told him who we were. I took him to my website, showed him who our clients are. Finally, when he saw that, he says, "Sir, I get it. No, I finally get it. You wanted the Ferrari. We gave you a Fiat." That's what he basically said, which he basically told us his clients, who are other designers, all use the Fiat. But this is who we are. We want to make sure that we take our time. The belts are delayed for that reason. We want to make sure there's parts of that we weren't happy with. And although Calvin Klein uses them, although Armani uses them, it just wasn't good enough for us. And turns out we found out that what we're getting is what Versace uses it, and I said, "Oh, great." I've always had a lot of respect for that designer, and fantastic. So we're finalizing. We're in the final process of the belt being ready as well. I know sometimes we probably give a little bit too much information on these trainings that wasn't part of the plan, but I think it's nice to hear. It's good listening for our clients and LCs.
Sure.
Number 10. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Number 10. So if the sample is successful, so it comes back and Sanaz says it's good, and Sanaz comes to me and I say it's good, and it's rare, by the way. I don't know, Sanaz, how often actually the first time you actually approve something. I know with our Shield, it took 3 years to get out because the first 3 sets was rejected. And each set had gone through the same process we're talking about, and finally, when the sample showed up, it wasn't good enough. And so outside Shield and Ferry Mosh, we use at least 2 manufacturers for every other vertical of products that we have, to make sure that, we leave options open if one person cannot maintain the quality, because sometimes initially it's good, and then they kind of slip because they're used to doing the same way of things in that factory, and they go beyond the call of duty to provide the first patch the way you want it to get the client, and then because that's not part of the MO, so the next order is not as good. So we always keep 2 manufacturers just in case we run into that. And I do my best part. I'm the guy that they dread talking to. I'm the best guy to keep talking, because everything is, they talk about everything they want to manufacture. Every part has to be best. So, but if they falter, and it happens time to time, we have a backup to go to. Sanaz, want to add something to that with regards to when the samples actually show up? I know you've had a lot of problems with not problems, but you've had a lot of challenges with hardware, and something that you deal with all the time.
Sure. Well, one of the days I look forward to putting up a museum as a part of our office where people will get a chance to walk through and actually see all of the products that have come in, but they've never been released. Because, there's times that we make something, the sample comes in, we remake it, the second sample comes in, we make it the 3rd time. And again, multiple times it comes in until it is exactly what we want. So I look forward to one day having a part of our office, which is the products that have not been released yet. They've come in and they just haven't been approved. So through everything that we've taken you through, imagine we go through all of that, and there's many samples that do come in and they never make it on the shelf. So
this includes actually ferry pieces, because you actually have ferry handbags and purses and wallets no one's ever seen, because when you finally got to us, and this is a ferry piece with a ferry logo and everything, and these things are hiding somewhere in very secure location, because I wouldn't even give it to my mother. My mother said, "Well, can I at least have them so I could use?" I said, "No. We don't want you to be going around with a ferry handbag. That's not up to our standard." "Yeah, but it's a waste. You pay all this money." It doesn't matter. We protect our brand. This stuff sits in a safe, secure facility for us. Maybe Sanaz talked about maybe a museum later on, but it's not something that we're going to utilize just because we spend money on it.
Sure.
The next part is we work on the release date, events that we want to release it on, and the branding campaign that we want to go with it. So again, this is very, very broad, and a lot of times the branding campaign has to do with particular sponsorship of an event. Maybe like Porsche just got a lot of accolades at the Emmys. The work, the release it when we want to release it. Usually at the conventions we've been doing this, but that's going to change since now we've changed the conventions into conferences. So again, we'll always do something special with some type of fashion show. Or sometimes, you know, we release things on events like the 007 event, which is like a black tie event at our showroom. You've seen the Blink Party videos. So again, that was the next step. When do we release it? And again, this is something that falls. We discuss as a team. Sarah Yorman is all involved in that. My team, we get together, and it's up to Sanaz and the ladies to work that event up and make sure that we meet those timelines. And Sanaz, I know you run into a lot of stress with manufacturers every single time, and no matter how you try, what you try, it seems like there's always something that's not ready on time.
Sure. Well, you know, things do come up in manufacturing, and that's one of the biggest things. And one of the key rules that we basically follow when it comes to our product releases is never rush anything. You know, we give you the timeline. It's supposed to be ready for that timeline, but in the process, things do come up. But the rule for any of the factories that we work on is never, ever rush for the sake of getting it done. And therefore, sometimes there's delays. Sometimes, of course, we're getting shipments in, so the travel time takes a little bit longer. So there's a whole slew of different aspects that happen. I remember at one time, you know, Ramin, if you remember, our ferry boxes, you know, we order them 6 months in advance because obviously the process that it takes to even create something as simple as our packaging, which everyone gets for free. You know, it basically, there was a strike on the trains, and you know, the ocean made it, and based on the train, it didn't make it to Toronto in time for the redistribution. It put us back almost a month. So there's many different components that come into play, and it's no different than when it comes to our products. And you know, we do our best, and sometimes, you know, like the Fairy Oprah wasn't ready for the fashion show because it wasn't perfect. It was the 51st time, and the 52nd time they got it right. So it happens in manufacturing, and our distributors, our luxury consultants, are absolutely amazing. I know they look forward to it. Yet they know that if there is a delay, it's just a pause in order to be able to get a much better product.
Well, you know, as a luxury consultant now, you know, the ferry that you're sporting right now these are the stars that actually made it to production, because many other versions of that had faltered, failed, didn't go through, and the ones you're holding are the ones that made it to production. Which brings me to the next level, which is we have to come with marketing materials before the product is released. So, which is Facebook posters, brochures, videos, all kinds of different things that we got to come up with. So when we release it, you folks have something to take it outside with. And that again falls with me, myself. I'll do it with my IT team, and we work on that stuff. Next part is when the actual goods arrive. Now they've gone through QC in the process, but now it goes through our QC at the head office. And the QC process, you know, and receiving goods, that is you know, that's treacherous work for you and your teams. And I know just sometimes we get a shipment in, and I think I put up a video one time, and when the day-to-day came in, like it was 180 boxes all over. I put it on Facebook, and people were just watching boxes everywhere. Well, all people have to actually go through that and make sure that nothing is damaged. And that's pretty much takes the entire week for you and your teams and I to make sure everything's done right.
Sure. You know, one of the biggest things is that when all the products arrive, of course, it's receiving the boxes. And
we can't hear you again, Sanaz.
Can you hear me okay?
It's much better, yeah.
Okay. One of the biggest things is that when all the goods arrive, you know, I go into shipping and receiving mode, and sometimes you come into the office and you see us dressed casually, and we always apologize for it, but you know, we get into you know, roll up our sleeves, and really I work with my team as well to ensure that we receive everything, to make sure that everything is properly labeled, and then of course we pull and get ready for photography. Once the photography is done, you know, all of course, the entire marketing concept comes from Ramin of what he wants, and so I basically just make it happen. And that's the beauty of our company, is that, you know, we work together hand in hand, and where we're strong at to be able to develop, create, work on the marketing materials, give you the best, website tools, online store for you to be able to share that as soon as it gets released live.
And the last part is the training material. Now we've got a product, it's ready to go out, and now we need to train our people to be able to go out and market it, from how it's manufactured to its uses, its functionality, how to take care of it. Again, we'll sit down, we work on this as a team, and basically falls on my shoulder and Sanaz's shoulder, and Sarah Yorman does a lot of work in that as well, to make sure, once the training is ready, that she gets it up produced and everything else, and we include much of it, Sanaz, I guess, right in the bib. So the bib is constantly evolving because we're adding, you always got these new cards that goes into these kits and so forth. So if you've got if you've been in business for a while, you want to make sure that you always visit our promo site, and there's all kinds of new stuff that always shows up there, or the updated stuff. You want to make sure that you always purchase them to make sure you're updated with the business. So at this point, those are basically the 15 steps. At this point, I want to cover a couple of more things, and then we want to get to our ME PowerPoint. And one of them is that once we go through this whole process, now we want to make sure that, we want to put it to test. And the first we want to put it to test is the elite shoppers. Who are they? The Hollywood celebrities. Why? We want their reaction. Because these are the folks who are approached weekly basis by everybody who makes anything in fashion. They'll live the designer world. They've been exposed to the biggest and the best that fashion has to offer. And these folks, unless they are highly, highly paid, they don't even hold your piece because the agent wants to get paid, unless you've got something that they really, really want. In that case, they bypass the agent. Some of our customers, they actually have contractual agreements and restrictions with other jewelry companies. When they show up to our showroom, to them, they don't care. They just must have it. They tell us not to mention it publicly, everything else, but yet they must have it. That's how mesmerized celebrities get with our product line. And I'm proud to say, and this is something that's shocking to the people that we talk to in the media, we haven't spent a single penny, not a cent, to any celebrities. We haven't paid no endorsement fee to not one celebrity, not a penny, for them to actually take pictures, talk about our product line, do videos, allow us to use it, and talk about it. So, because again, we just don't do that. We don't have to, we're not going to be like, Chanel paid $12 million to Nicole Kidman for the Chanel 5. We don't have those budgets, and nor would we do it. With us, we just basically got these products that everybody wants. When they come, they're mesmerized. When they're mesmerized, they want it, and they're willing to talk about it, go on camera, go on video. Something, again, that is very unique in Hollywood, because every celebrity has an agent, and their job is to get contracts and revenues and money and so forth. So we bring it to them first to make sure that it's to get their reaction. And when we see them get excited, we get excited, Sanaz, because we know we have a winner with that design.
Sure, and that's one of the biggest compliments that we receive from a lot of the celebrities list that we have, Ramin, is they're well traveled. They see a lot of products that, of course, they are constantly around. Their stylists are constantly pulling different things for them. And one of the biggest compliments that we always receive is not only the fact that they love the product, but at the same time they always talk about that they've never seen these type of products, from the design, from the quality. They're just oohing and awing. And even at the Emmys, it was the first time that we actually had Posh there, because Posh recently is a new baby that's been released, and wow, did it ever attract so many people when we were at the Emmys as well. So that's the beauty of it, where, like you said, the well-versed celebrities that seen it all, travel the world. We get a lot of them from different countries as well. I mean, we have celebrities that are North American, we have celebrities that are Middle Eastern, we have celebrities that are Asian, and it doesn't matter who it is. They're constantly talking about the uniqueness and the beauty of our designs.
And the last thing, Sanaz, I want to bring up, which I already touched on earlier, what's the difference between the designer and the manufacturer? Designers, as you know it, they don't manufacture everything they have. We've visited UNI manufacturers who make goods for all the top designers that you all know of. And of course, they want our business as well. Sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. So that's the difference between the two. So no designer makes everything they have. Louis Vuitton doesn't make watches. They go to a watch factory for them to make those watches and so forth. And the last thing is, well, this is a question that came up the other day, and I thought, this is something we used to deal with in the old days, but it hasn't come up for a while. But maybe we should talk about this again. Understand who's an expert in jewelry. I think people generally they perceive jewelry store owners as experts in jewelry, but they're not. Perceiving a jewelry store, somebody who sells jewelry as an expert in jewelry, it's like perceiving the guy who sells you a car as an engineer to making that car. No, he's been trained to sell the car. And the jewelry people, they're just trained to sell jewelry. They're not manufacturers, they're not gemologists, they just sell jewelry, just like anyone sells anything. So never get your opinion from a jewelry store when it comes down to a jewelry, the quality of jewelry. They just don't know. They've got some general basic information of what jewelry is, just like the guy who sells a car knows, well, the options that comes with that car, but really they don't know much about it. The second part of the of that industry would be maybe the gemologist. Well, the gemologist, let me tell you, we deal with the best of the best, which is IGI, which is a lab. They're not independent gemologists. They're not a gemologist that work for a store, because really what a gemologist will do, give you an opinion at the end of the day. That's all it is. It's an informed opinion. Now, if they're independent, that is an independent informed opinion. If they work for a company, that is opinion all of a sudden becomes very suspect, because if the boss says something, they have to, the employee, they have to follow the employee. So this is a reason why we used to have a gemologist in GWT. She worked for us in-house. Even when she was there for the 2 years that she was there, she never actually one time appraised. She actually worked for IGI for many, many years. She was certified, worked for the best. But when she worked for us, we never actually once had her appraise any of our pieces, because we knew one thing: if an appraisal comes from us at that time, especially, now it doesn't matter, because now we have the world accolades, we got all these celebrities, we got all these write-ups. Now it's not important anymore. But back then, when we first launched it, we knew that we'd come up with a Ferry Marsh, which is the world's best, and people would only perceive that if somebody independent they knew would authenticate it. So that's where we went to the world's largest lab, IGI, and they started the other lab. They don't work for anybody, and it's not one person. The reason why they're so expensive is that it's not one gemologist looking at your piece. There's 3 gemologists that go through the same piece independently, and then the head, which is called a GG, which is the highest level of gemology, he looks at all the reports, and he looks at the piece himself and gives you the final report. And we've always worked directly with IGI, and the other one that certify our pieces. And so why we do this is because, again, if you got somebody in Greece or whatever, everyone understands who IGI is. But again, one thing about gemologists is that they know stones. They understand raw materials when it comes down to diamonds and gemstones, but they don't understand manufacturing processes. They don't understand how Ferry Marsh is made versus someone else is made. But that's the difference between, again, somebody working at a store who just knows how to sell, gemologists who understand raw material, understand the stones, and then you got the manufacturers like us. Manufacturers know everything. Why? Because they manufacture. They have to understand, of course, the manufacturing process. Then they understand what type of stones that need to go in those pieces. So manufacturers understand what Ferry Marsh is. And we have manufacturers that walk into our office constantly, and they get a headache looking at these designs, the way it's said, how complex the projects are, just by looking at it. Just want to bring that out. So don't go to a jewelry store, bring your Ferry pieces there and expect them to understand the difference between our silver and other people's silver. I guess it's easy to understand. Something says 19 karat, that's better than 18 karat. That part of it, everyone understands. But, handmade jewelry versus the machine-made jewelry, the casting that we do versus, the stuff that's done in Asia, which is basically dump the stones on the piece and press it with your fingers, stick it in the oven. That's how pretty much they do it over there. They call it invisible setting. They give all these fancy names. The manufacturers understand the difference between using a super resolution CAT machine, which costs $1,000 to do a mold, versus $1.50 rubber mold that's used in every other jewelry you find in every store you walk into. Those are so again, you don't need to know these things. I just want you to know one thing, is that don't perceive your local jewelry store as an expert. They're not. Now, there are a few of them that are manufacturers as well. They'll understand it. But as a rule, that's not what it is. So you're not going to, when they look at Ferry Marsh, obviously if they're just neutral people, they're like, wow, I've never seen a 21K, never seen 19K, wow, wow, wow. But there are some, they see it, they're like, how could that be? They can't understand it. So in any event, I just wanted to touch base on that. And Sanaz, if you want to add something to this, and again, going back to, there are 22-step process for Ferry Marsh, or the steps that we take for Ferry. Again, when it comes down to the manufacturing part of it, we talked about the plating technology that goes on Ferry, right, to getting the raw material. Again, those are the type of things only manufacturers understand. No one else can understand the process because they don't do it. So, Sanaz, if you want to add something to this, if not, we're ready to, I guess, have you take us through the ME PowerPoint.
Sure. I do actually want to add quickly something. We've had our luxury consultants sometimes also taking their Ferry pieces in for, maybe taking out links or reducing the bracelet size. Please ensure that you don't do that. Most of the time, actually, the same response I always get from everyone is they try that in their local market, and then they call us and say they wouldn't even touch my piece. They said it's too expensive. And then I told them that it was the sterling silver, and they were shocked. So again, that just, like Ramin just mentioned, that just shows you how much they really know. If they're not looking at the stamping, they won't know the difference between, sterling silver and gold. And the only reason is because they are salespeople, and you'll get that random person that works there that basically comes from a manufacturing background, can understand the concept and sort of the architecture of that jewelry piece as well. So, we have beautiful pieces. We're excited about it, and we are more excited to actually take you through our Emmys video as well as our PowerPoint. So, Ramin, do you want me to launch the video first, or do you want to take them through the PowerPoint first?
Actually, no, we're not going to do the video, Sanaz. It's a long video, and it's not going to work well here. What we're going to do is that once it's finished, we're going to put it on our corporate page, and people can go and watch it. It's a magnificent video. You're going to love it. And once you see that video, just go show off with it. Just blast it off. Go wild with it. It's an absolutely gorgeous video. We love it. I think it's the best one we've done so far. Thank you for Nanad Kalmar. He worked on it all week long. What a talented young man he is. He just sits in the background. I know on Saturday, the first version he did, I didn't like. So I had to go back to drawing board. I know, and Saturday he worked at 5 in the morning. Yesterday, he's working all day today. He's probably putting 50 hours into that. So, so we'll release that on our corporate page, Facebook page. Just go on there and take the link and just go wild with it. So maybe what you want to do right now, just take him through the slides. So again, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we do that 15-step process because we want to get this type of reaction from the elite shoppers and the Hollywood people, because if they get excited and they're willing to promote you for free, then we know we got a winner. And that's what we've got here. And I guess, Sanaz, the PowerPoint is yours.
Okay, well, Ramin, you can help me take our members through. Oh, someone's going too fast. Can we go back to the first slide? Or is this the first slide? Okay, here we go. So Ferry Designer Lines at the Emmy, just before we get started, as you all know, we participate in many, many different celebrity events. Of course, we've done the Ferry at the Toronto International Film Festival, which has been a huge, huge, huge success. And of course, attending the TIFF, we get a lot of the celebrities that are there asking us, why don't you come to Hollywood? This is where, we'd love to be able to see you. And so we decided this last time to be at the Montage Beverly Hills, working with an amazing, amazing suite. Now, what this is, it's the gorgeous outdoor terrace of a very, very prestigious hotel in Beverly Hills. And we basically have to make everything from scratch, we, of course, got, as you can see in the pictures, we got some gorgeous tents. I ordered some amazing, gorgeous fixtures. We shipped, of course, skids down over there in order to be able to, put up our media wall, lights, and, of course, all of our beautiful pieces, such as our purses, such as our, our day-to-day was featured there. Our prestige line was featured, Posh, the shields, the sterling silver, tungsten, our timepieces. So we have many of our products that were released there. And this is basically what our lounge look like. So you can see we had two cabanas there. We had our media wall off to the left. We had lots and lots and lots of gorgeous products hanging there. We had some gorgeous chandeliers that were all custom built inside of our booth. So we, of course, spend extensive time to make sure that our venue looks absolutely gorgeous. We, of course, had the entire place dazzled up with all of our banners, showcasing our product lines as well. Ramin, did you want to add anything to that, or go to the next slide?
Actually, Sanaz, I'm at the sea, my vacation home, and I've lost internet reception, so I can't even see anything. So you can go ahead.
Okay. Okay, no problem. So going to the next slide, I'm going to, we're going to now start taking you through a couple of the people that, came through our venue and the comments. You're going to get a chance to see, of course, all of that in the video. We have Brianna Brown here. She's an amazing actress. As you can see, she's sporting one of our gorgeous posh pieces. She, of course, was an actress in Spider-Man 2, Knocked Up, 40-Year-Old Virgin. She's played in many different TV shows, such as General Hospital, True Blood, and the list of accolades goes on and on. So, she was absolutely mesmerized by our pieces, and you can see, her wearing the beautiful posh. She absolutely loved it, and she's doing such a great job. So moving on to the next slide. We, of course, the list of celebrities that were with her as well was Daya, and Daya is another amazing actress as well, playing in April Fools. She, again, plays in a lot of the TV shows, Twisted, Unforgettable, Dexter, Two and a Half Men. So we have a lot of these folks that were coming through. And, of course, as you can see, these ladies are just absolutely loving posh. They picked them up. Of course, all of these pictures, as I mentioned, going to the next slide, will be posted as well on our celebrity page in our website, so you get a chance to see this. This was so awesome because seeing Mayim was awesome, because when I was growing up, I used to watch Blossom and, of course, The Big Bang Theory, and she came through, and it was like deja vu for me from back in the day when I was a kid, and I used to sit there, and I thought, for a minute, I was just standing there going, is this is happening, like, this is so awesome. And it almost gave me a reality check as well of where Fairy Mosh Posh are. And again, she was just absolutely blown away. And the video, you get a chance to hear what she had to say about our lounge as well. Moving forward, we, of course, had more and more people, and I know many of you, of course, know Alexis Bellino from the Real Housewives of Orange County. Now, what was really interesting about her was, she's your peachy poshy lady who's got everything and anything. As you can see, she's sporting her, Hermes bag there, and she walked in and she went right over to the shield, and she was just glued to the shield. And as you can see, she actually wanted 3 of her shields. She's like, I want this one, I want this one, I can wear this with my white, I can wear this with my black. Oh my God, this is so much better. And I'm not going to mention any names, but she was mentioning, oh my God, this is so much better than this brand, and this is so much better than that brand. And she was just going absolutely nuts. So her and her girlfriends just had an absolute feast. And she walked away with a gorgeous fairy shield. Again, you get a chance to hear it in the video of what she's got to say. We're going to be releasing that very shortly to you. Moving forward, we had another one of our amazing ladies from Glee, and Dot Mary Jones. Again, she was so awesome. She came in, and she was absolutely mesmerized, and I had a chance to spend some amazing time with her, and she was just blown away with everything. And she picked up posh. Again, it was amazing how many people were attracted toward the posh, and the posh was actually a very, very small display with all of the fairy, with all of the big mannequins for fairy and all the bling. Again, the first part that most people went to was the posh, and she picked up a posh necklace for herself. And again, she absolutely loved it. And that's the beauty of our product line, with posh. And again, like I mentioned, Dot Mary Jones from Glee was there with us as well. And again, I know they won many, many awards for the Emmys as well. Moving forward. Awesome. Okay, well, we got Allie here, and Allie, of course, is the Bachelorette, and she played in the Bachelorette and the Bachelor, and she came in and picked up one of our this. She was, loving the shields. You can see it on the right hand side of the screen. She was sporting them. She absolutely loved it. But you know what? When it came down to the bottom line, and she wanted to really, really pick up one of the fairy spring bags, which is part of our, of course, day-to-day collection. She absolutely loved it. And again, you're going to get a chance to hear what she had to say about the fairy spring bag and why that was her pick and her choice in the video that we're going to be showing you very shortly. Moving forward. All right. Well, we had Shamika there, and Shamika's a TV personality. She does Hollywood Access, and she was dynamite. She was telling me, she's like, oh my God, there's so many different places that I go to, and the versatility of your products are so stunning. The fact that you can dress them down, but have them, dress them up, and you can wear them as a red carpet piece, yet you can wear them casually with just, with an outfit that I'm wearing today. She was just blown away, and that was the consistent feedback that we had from all of the different television personalities that were coming through and taking a look at the Fairy Lounge and absolutely blown away. And yeah, all of them had absolutely nothing but just amazing, 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 amazing things to say about our brand. Moving forward. Okay, so who we have next for you, of course, is Adina, and Adina Porter is another actress. She played in True Blood, and one of the biggest things as well is she was just glued. As you can see, our CEO and founder here, he's telling them a little bit about Posh, and but she was in love with the Shields. Like, she went to the Shields area and she was just glued to it, and she loved so many of them, and she was trying them on, and so we actually at points, Ramin, if you remember, we were so jam-packed between myself and Ramin talking to everybody that was coming in, because really we didn't have to go anywhere. We were just there, sitting there, and not really actually, we didn't get a much chance to sit, but we were just getting bombarded nonstop with people coming in, and Adina was like, went to Ramin, and Ramin took him through, of course, all of the things that, of course, she's played in True Blood, in the Newsroom, and many, many, many other things. She's an awesome actress as well. So moving forward. All right. All right. So many of you know Kyle. He has got such a personality. He is so awesome. Of course, many of us know him from That's So Raven. He's an actor, musician, dancer, and he went right for the iPad. Like, he loved, loved, loved the ostrich print that we had. But of course, many of you have seen him with Dancing with the Stars as well. But he was so awesome because again, you get a chance to not only see him and what he says, but the hashtag that he closes with, that what fairy is, and he loved not only he loved everything. He loved our timepieces, he loved our shields, but he was just absolutely glued to our iPad holder, and he was just kind of bouncing around everywhere and saying, "Oh my God, have you seen what fairy's got? Oh my God, have you seen fairy? Oh my God, have you seen fairy?" And any of his friends that kind of were there, he was, just talking to them nonstop, saying, "Oh my God, have you been to the Fairy Lounge? Have you been to the Fairy Lounge? It's beautiful. Look what I picked up. This is awesome." So those are the kind of feedback that we're getting from guys that are out there all the time, seeing a lot of products, and getting a lot of kickback for product endorsement, where we don't do any of that, like Ramin mentioned. We just set up for them for branding purposes, yet they come there and they absolutely fall in love with our product.
Again, it comes down to versatility. So now here's a guy that he drives his decked out Phantom, the Rolls Royce Phantom, around town. He's a flashy guy, and from everything we had over there, he loved everything. But boy, he really jumped over that iPad. He was showing it off to everybody. And of course, he plays around with that on the video as well that's coming up. So the guy's worth $7 million at that age, and so it comes, again, having that versatility, that you have something that appeals to everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely, and yeah, and that was the most amazing thing about it. And it's almost like a waker upper for Ramin and I as well, because, you know, especially for me, I should talk for myself because I'm around the products all the time. I go through the development of it and sometimes I get tired. But you know what? Every time, as tiring as these lounges are, because as glamorous as it all looks, you know, we're there 6 a.m. setting it up, 2 hours of sleep, you know, putting up everything, making sure everything looks immaculate, making sure that, you know, we're ready to rumble. And then once it's all done and we go through it and it's nonstop, go, 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 and one person after another, it's like ripped down and on the road. But these guys are there and they give you so much energy based on the compliments that they give you with your brand and your product line. Moving to the next slide. Awesome. Okay, so we got Anna here, and Anna again is part of Dancing with the Stars, and you know, she was telling me, you know, she's with you whenever she goes to Europe, that's where she does all of her shopping, and she's like, oh my God, your pieces are absolutely immaculate, beautiful. Again, you got a chance to hear her in the video as well, and what she talks about walking into the lounge and what she had to hear as well. And by the way, I know a lot of you are asking whether these pictures will be live for us to be able to post them. And we will be posting these live on our Facebook page, and you'll get a chance to have access to them to reuse them and post them on your Facebooks as well. All right, moving on to the next slide. All right. Well, this lady was awesome. Ramin, I know you had an awesome connection with her as well. Her name is Kim Lewis. She was the senior VP with BET Network, and she was dynamite. I mean, she loved, loved, loved our shields. And you're going to see actually a really, really cool dance on what she does at the end on our video as well. But again, I remember Ramin, she was just totally glued to our shields. And like you said, the shields were like the biggest hit at the Emmys this year. So Kim Lewis, Senior VP with BET. And again, she was telling us, you know, she travels all the time and she's dealing with tons of different things all the time. And she's never seen so many amazing and most beautiful products in front of her all in one place. All right, moving forward to the next slide. I know you guys are all anxious to get to the video. And again, what you're seeing here is you're seeing Ditch on the left-hand side. He's a musician, he's a hip hop artist and producer. And then of course on the right, he was accompanied with Anine Unger, and she is a model. And again, you know, Ditch was just blown away. I mean, he did a little. I'm not gonna give it away, but he did a little rap about Fairy, and he was just right on the spot, you know, bouncing and moving and having so much fun, and loved all of her bling. And you know, if we had um, more inventory and maybe his sizes there, he wanted to like put 4 rings side by side. Absolutely love, 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 love the Fairy designer lines, the sterling silver for men collection. He loved it. He wanted everything that we had there, and was just absolutely like all over it. Of course, Anine was all over the posh, and she absolutely loved it. And she was talking about it, and they've already been to a couple of events where they're already writing about Fairy. So before we release these videos, I was like, oh my God, I hope nobody sees all these videos that are out there. I hope if, you know, all the celebrity pictures that are out there already and floating around, and them, you know, using their hashtags and tweeting about Fairy and tweeting about, you know, posh and all of these things. So those are the kind of cool things, and those are the cool, you know, amazing, amazing things that we've had. So you're going to be able to see and hear them in the video that's upcoming for you as well. Moving forward. Okay, so we have RJ, who, of course, House of Last Things and Breaking Bad, of course. He's a part of that TV show. And again, he walked in, and as you can see, he's sporting our shields. Absolutely, once again, another person. It was, you know, I'm not sure, Ramin, if it was because it was California and it's hot and sunny and it was beautiful out, but everyone like a magnet went right towards the shield. And again, he picked
you know
up.
what? Every one of them that came in, they all had the sunglasses on or some
Oh,
design or
absolutely.
another. But I tell you, people were taking their designer sunglasses off, putting it side by side, feeling the movement, the touch. When we explained what was the difference, because they could feel, they knew there was something was different. They knew, and you know what? The young lady from Extra, she said it best, and she basically called Ferry the trendsetter. And because what we do, that no one else, no other design in the world does. And sure, the shield is maybe twice the price of what you'll pay for Chanel or Gucci, or maybe even three times more. But because there is a definite difference between what we make and what they make, and you could clearly see, feel, and beyond, and that's beyond the style and the glamour of it. So yes, Shield knocked it out of the park. Everybody was mesmerized by it. I think the close, if I'm the judge on this, the close second will have been Posh and Day to Day. But I'll tell you, Shield, everybody wanted one.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right, you know, and that's one of the biggest advantages of our members having access to our products because, you know, when you're talking two, three times, you're talking retail. But as a member, of course, your pricing is so much more amazing, and that's the beauty of it. Now, moving forward, you're going to get a chance to see a lot more because it wasn't like Remy mentioned, it wasn't just the Shields. Shields was huge, huge, huge hit. And if we go to the next slide, you get a chance to see some of the more products of the day to day. Of course, we had Christina Milian, which is our amazing actress and musician. She was, of course, be a part of the American Pie, the 1999 one. Be Cool, again, Dancing with the Stars. Um, Again, amazing, amazing, amazing woman. As you can see, she has a beautiful smile. Absolutely loved her pieces. And what's amazing is she was another one, Remy. She actually walked in with a Louis Vuitton into our lounge and was just like a magnet, went right towards the day to day. Um, and, you know, just absolutely loved the color. She thought the color was so great. It was so fresh. It was so versatile. She's like, oh my God, you could wear this with anything. You could wear this with so many different colors. And she loved it. And it was so funny because she gave her Louis Vuitton to her assistant and picked up the day to day. And then she said, you know, as I walk around, can you just change my stuff in there? And so she was just carrying the day to day with the ferry and loved it, loved it, loved it. Of course, this piece in particular is called the Atusa, and she absolutely loved it. Again, moving forward, and again, you got a chance to see her in the video as well. Sean Robinson. Okay, so she's a TV personality from Access Hollywood. She, of course, covers all the red carpets with the Oscars, with the Emmys, and she's going to be on the red carpet as well again. Again, she spent extensive time with Ramin, talking to him about how blown away she was, and you're going to get a chance to hear what she had to say about Fairy and the Shields. And, this is what Ramin talked about, being trendsetters. She's the one who was just, absolutely mesmerized. And she was such a pishy-poshy lady coming in and very finicky and sort of very guards up, sort of say, when she came in, kind of like, what do you have type of thing. But boy, did those guards go down quick because she was just all over the lounge. Absolutely, just lost her composure, just loving all of the pieces that we had in our lounge as well. So moving forward. Awesome. Well, a lot of you know this gentleman, Soldier Boy. I know my cousin was excited when I told him that I had a chance to meet him, and oh my God, did you get his autograph? And oh my God, he's freaking out. Soldier Boy, of course, he's a musician. He's a hip hop artist. Um, Again, walked in. I mean, has seen it all. You talk about net worth. I mean, this guy is made it so big. Went right towards the timepieces. It was amazing because really everyone was leaning towards something, and he's one of those guys who's big into the labels and big into the designer brands, and for God's sakes, he's got Gucci tattooed in the middle of his forehead. So, but when he came in, absolutely was blown away once again with the Fairy designer lines. Picked up our timepiece, and when he found out that Ramin, the founder CEO, was there, went there and just congratulated Ramin, shook his hands, said, wow, you have amazing stuff. You got all the bling I like, in his own words, and, started to do a little bit of, freestyling for Ramin with the brand. So you get a chance we have some cool things to show you when it comes to the video as well. So moving forward, that's Soldier Boy, of course, musician, hip hop artist, and producer. And then, of course, we have Dan. And Dan is part of Scandal, Web Therapy. He's played in multiple different movies, of course. And of course, he won an award at the Emmys. Here you get a chance to see he not only loved the Shield, as you can see on the left, and that's the picture of him winning the Emmys, this past Emmys. But of course, on the right side, you get a chance to see him sporting our watch. He was just so torn. He was like, "Oh my God, I love this. Oh my God, I love this." And he actually picked up not only a watch, but he picked up Shield as well. And him and Ramin had a great chat. They spent a good time, and he was just amazed. He was mesmerized by everything. And again, that's Dan as a part of our web therapy and Scandal show. And again, congratulations to him for winning the Oscars. And you'll get a chance to hear what he had to say on our video as well. Okay, moving forward, we're almost coming to the end. We're not there. All right, do we have one more slide? That's it. All right. So
No, that's it, Sanaz.
Yep. So this, ladies and gentlemen, was part of our slides. Of course, we had tons and tons and tons of other people that went through. We didn't want to put a PowerPoint together for you guys that was going to last 2-3 hours. However, we are going to put these pictures of the celebs on our website. More people that went through. There's lots and lots and lots of videos, lots of interviews that we did, lots of press, media, television, magazines. We've actually been published in so many different magazines. So now that we've given this out to you, we're going to just keep on updating you with lots and lots and lots of new updates that are going to be coming out with, whatever videos that are out there, whatever links that we could keep on to. So if you haven't already done so, make sure you go and subscribe to our YouTube page. Make sure you go ahead and, of course, like our Facebook page. And of course, that's the portal. Make sure you're constantly plugged in. Make sure you're always logged in. Make sure you are active daily on our Facebook, on our YouTube page, seeing new videos coming out. Just to give you a couple of new updates that are going to be coming out very quickly before I pass the call to Reza, is that the new tour, of course, is going to be coming out this week. We're going to be launching that live for you this week. We're in the process of recording it and getting it live to you. The other one as well is that we're going to be doing the official launch for St. Lucia, which I'm sure Reza is going to take you through. But again, be a part of history. Make sure you attend these events. There's a lot of things that are coming up. There's the pre-launch of Poland that's happening the next month. Again, these are things that you can get a chance to tap into. There's a lot of great leaders that are traveling into different markets. So there's a lot of great things happening. It's phase 3. It's to the billion. A lot of exciting things. And Ramin, I don't know if you want to add a couple of words just before I pass the call back to Reza. But you know what?
Absolutely.
We're pumped. We're excited. And you know what? We are here to go to the billion. Ramin, the call's all yours.
Thank you, Sanaz, for that great explanation. Ladies and gentlemen, as of just right now, I've loaded that magnificent Emmys video on our corporate Facebook page, which is Global Wall Street Corporation. So go, like, share, comment, brag. I put a little quote that I had when I was competing in wrestling years ago. We said, if it's true, it's not bragging. And definitely, so don't feel bad about going out there, brag about your company. I do want to add one more thing. When you see things on Facebook, don't just like and comment, share it. So when you see a new message, always pass it on, because as other messages come out, those messages disappear. So the only way to reach everybody and reach the world is that when you see something, share it, pass it on your Facebook page continuously. So on the newsfeed, all your friends can see the same message over and over and over and over again, and they'll finally call you because they know you, okay, what's going on? So don't just like and comment, but share it so we can have the same message going out by thousands of people and not by a dozen people. So I'm going to pass it to you, Reza. The link is already on our corporate Facebook page, Global Wall Street Corporation. Go there and you can share it from there.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, thank you very much, Ramin. Thank you very much, Sanaz. You guys never fail to amuse us. It's unbelievable that what you shared tonight, a lot of it was even brand new to me, and I thought I knew a lot. Anyways, that was just insane. The process keeps getting more and more complex. and you guys keep pulling it off. Awesome. Thank you very much, guys. Now, but like Ramin mentioned, everybody go to Core Facebook, official Facebook page on Facebook, Global Wealth Trade, and share that link with everybody. It's easy, guys. If I know how to share it, I'm sure you all know how to share it. Just go share it, and you'll be surprised how many people are going to get it and what's going to happen with that. So first things first, you want to do that. I'm anxious to go see it myself. And now, a little bit of announcements. There's some very great, amazing, exciting events coming up. And with the launch of the phase 3, I know there's a lot of people with a lot of questions, the new system, the new setup, and so on. And where else will you be able to learn and, rub shoulders with the high achievers and top earners and special guests other than boot camps? Starting with the Montreal boot camp, that is basically October the 12th. I highly recommend for everybody within 2 or 3 hour driving distance to attend this boot camp. We all know there's many people having a lot of success with the new phase 3 with the VIP and so on and so forth. And there's many other people that are, because they have questions or they're not clear on what's going on, not so much. So what you need to do is you need to get yourself to the boot camp. Believe me, take my word on it. That's on October the 19th at Hotel Ruby Fou. There has been an email blast out to all the members. You want to make sure to go there, get your ticket, book your ticket. There's limited seating at the boot camps, so you want to make sure you do that. It's roughly around $20 for an entire day of awesome training. Following that, the following week, October the 19th, is the Toronto boot camp. Again, you're going to have a lot of the top earners, shareholders, regional ambassadors, national ambassadors, and so on. There's going to be many high achievers, top earners, and trainers at this event. And we always get lucky, and we see some of the corp also there, our VP, or hey, maybe she's still listening, or our CEO to attend, to pass through, and we kidnapped him and put him in front of the room. So Toronto boot camp, I never missed one in 5 years. You know what? You have no excuse. If you live within 2, 3, 4, I know people fly from the Caribbean and different parts of the world for boot camps. So if you live in that city or even within 3 or 4 hour drive, you want to make sure to attend this special boot camp. Again, tickets are up and running. Go in your back office and purchase it. And it is, I believe, less than $20. Actually, it's $18, including tax. Wow, I don't know how Toronto pulled that off. But you know what? You definitely want to take advantage of that. And one of the biggest official launches of a new market in global wealth trade history is coming up this month. This market is a St. Lucia market that's being officially launched. I know there's many people that are flying there, as well as our CEO and the VP of product development. They're going to be there for the official launch of St. Lucia. I know their target is 1,000 people launch. That officially puts them the biggest launch in any market in GWT market. And to show us that they're serious, 3 months in a row, they were the top market for GWT, 3 past months. So, that's one area, that's one thing that's definitely is a blast. And most importantly, if you have in mind to launch your market, a new market, you definitely want to witness this amazing event coming up. Again, I know many people are going there on the 20th of October to the 27th, but we have 5 tours, 5 different nights, training, so on and so forth. All the details are on the website, on the email that was sent out, and so on. It's going to be absolutely insane. So these are the 3 things, guys. Again, it's all posted. It's all on the website. You can find it on GWT Family and so on and so forth. Before you do anything, go to Global Wealth Trade official Facebook page, share the link, and you know what? Let's push it to the billion, guys. Thanks for being with us tonight. Everybody have a good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever part of the world you may be in. Everybody goodbye.